Greeting backers. It's nice to speak to everyone again. It's been a long time since you've seen my face, since the first Kickstarter campaign. I just wanted to take a few minutes and give you a quick update as to what's been happening with the whole Easier project. I got a message the other day where someone was wondering if we had actually gone into production, and we have not. The last time that I did a written update, I mentioned to everyone that I would be getting samples in with the drivers and that I would be taking some time with the project engineer to review the samples and just make sure that everything was working the way that it was supposed to be working. And so with that being said, I just want to go over a few things that we found within the sample, kind of show you, what we've gotten so far and what the next step is going to be. Alright everyone, let's just go back to the Easier 101. The original Easier, which was offered on Kickstarter, consisted of a single driver, which you see here, which was a flathead, which would accommodate the Phillips and the flathead screws in the screwdriver. And then after the project, I wanted to do something really special, something different. Since I was offering Phillips and flathead screwdriver versions, I redesigned the whole thing, and then that's where we came up with the reversible driver unit. And I'm excited to say that I'm really happy with the reversible driver choice that I made, because I think it's actually going to be a lot more functional for most people. Now with that being said, once we went back to the drawing board and came up with this new design, we had to send those specs back to the manufacturer and have them to basically send us prototypes based on that design, and then from there that's what we're trying to tweak to give you the best possible, the most functional the most functional product that we can offer. The first samples that came back, they sent with different textures, as you can see, and this is the one that we're probably going to use because it has a little bit more of a grip to it. They sent back the Kickstarter color, as you can see here, the Kickstarter green, to show us that they could do that for us as well. Also, if you can see, there's writing here, which they call silk logo printing, which looks good to me. But what we found basically between the two different types of textures, as I mentioned before, that this one, which is the more matted flat finish, is easier to grip, whereas we're going to take another unit which is a little bit shinier, which looks more plastic-like and cheap, if I may say, and slippery, is not going to be used. The other thing that transpired when they sent us the samples was that at that time we hadn't secured a place where we could have the drivers manufactured. So the samples came first, and then probably, I think, the earlier part of last week, the drivers came in. But what happened was over at the manufacturer is that they noticed when the manufacturer of the driver sent them the drivers that they did not fit inside the housing unit securely. They went in, but they just came right back out. So then they had to go back and then make the that particular compartment a little bit smaller. And once they made those adjustments, they sent me the newer samples to review, which actually is here. And basically, you have a much better fit. Now, the issue that I'm dealing with currently is that this particular driver, which does fit in there, if you push it too far in, as I am doing, which could happen because both of the hex pieces go in, it is a bear to get out. If your hands are slippery, you are not going to be able to pull that out with ease and be able to flip it if you need to use the other side of the driver, or the other driver side. So that's one thing that we're going to have to address. what we're going to end up doing is having the hole filled in so that when you push the driver in, it doesn't go as far as the one hex side. So therefore, in the future, if need be, you need to switch drivers. It's just a matter of removing, flipping, and putting it back in without over pushing it in and then it getting stuck in there. One thing. The other thing that we are going to be having them to readdress is, which I'm happy to say, which some drivers in the previous Kickstarter campaign were magnetized and others weren't, that all of these drivers will be magnetized. I'm going to see here if I can get this one up. As you can see, there is magnetization, but I need them to address the magnet to make it a little bit stronger. You see, I'm not getting, there we go. But you shouldn't have to do that many times to pick this up. So that's another area that I would like to have addressed.
Just turn it over.
Let me see if I can do that again. There we go. So you see there, we have been able to get that part taken care of, but the strength of that particular magnetization needs to be a little bit stronger. I would like for it to be a little bit stronger. The other thing that we're going to be asking them to readdress is, even though I like this particular finish, and I think it has a nice textured grip, I need to make it a little bit better so that it's easier to open and close and use. So we're going to be having them to add something in the mold. They're called gripper lines, which they're going to run evenly spaced. They're not going to protrude where it's going to make the item look weird, but just enough where they're sort of just ridges so that when you go to lock and unlock or you go to use the item, you have a better gripping, I'll just say better gripping power there so that it doesn't slip out of your hand. And last but not least, as you can see on this particular item where we had the writing, which I'm going to put either KS funded or Kickstart something. Once we go and we put the gripper lines in, on the opposite side, we've decided that we would like the writing to go around as opposed to up and down or the long way, as you may see over here in the original Easier. So we think that that particular look will be a lot better as it circles. Take this out. So in this particular case, perhaps you would see this particular wording on the opposite side. In short, this is where we are, and this is the plan as we move forward. Hopefully, I should receive the samples with those corrections in the next couple of weeks. And as always, once I receive the samples and review them with the project engineer, I will reach out to you and let you know the outcomes. Hopefully these last final, hopefully I'm using the word final, these corrections will be final, and then we can go ahead and start production. My hope is not to drag this out any longer than it has taken, but again, if I am to provide you with the best functional and the most fun product that you have anticipated, some of these changes are necessary. I also will share with you that I have all the other items that were accessories that were ordered, and just basically we are just waiting to wrap up the specifications on the unit, the Easier unit. As always, I thank everyone for your continued support and patience, and for those of you that pray your prayers and or positive energy. This has been very insightful but yet still fun. So I hope that that when all is said and done, that you guys really enjoy the easier, and we'll share with others, how you help to make this project come into fruition. Thank you very much, and everyone have a wonderful, blessed rest of the week.